Away from that, now the Nigerian Senate is calling for a state of emergency in regions that have become terror hotspots. The Red Chamber of the National Assembly also called on President Bola Tinubu to review strategies of security agencies and establish a task force to investigate implications of bandit negotiation. Despite efforts by security agencies to tackle the issues of insecurity, the country has been plagued by escalating banditry attacks, resulting in the loss of lives, kidnapping for ransom, displacement of communities, and disruption of socio-economic activities, particularly in the Northwest. The resolutions by lawmakers followed a motion sponsored by Senator Nasiru Daura, representing Katsina North, on the urgent need to review the security approach in addressing banditry attacks in the Northwest region. Due to the gravity of the situation, the motion was supported by lawmakers.
I stand to move a motion on the urgent need to review the security approach in addressing banditry attacks in Katsina, Sokoto, Zamfara, Kaduna, Kebbi, Kano, and Jigawa states in the northwest of Nigeria. The Senate notes that Katsina, Sokoto, Zamfara, Kaduna, Kano, Jigawa, and Kebbi states have been plagued by escalating banditry attacks, resulting in loss of lives, kidnapping for ransom, displacement of communities, and disruption of socio-economic activities. The Senate also notes that the state governments have allocated significant funds to augment the operations of the security agencies in combating banditry and restoring peace in the region.
I believe that there is the need for Mr. President to seek for a further legal framework that will give the Nigerian security forces the comfort to go out there to ensure that they engage these bad elements.
To discuss this, we are joined by a security expert in Kotaria Ipalibo, and it joins us from Plateau State, Nigeria. It's nice to have you around in Kotaria on the news.
Thank you for having me.
So the north and the northwestern part of Nigeria has been most by people tagged as bandit-prone areas in Nigeria. For you, what factors would you say contribute to these regions being vulnerable to bandit attacks?
Well, the factors that has made the northeast and northwestern region of Nigeria to be vulnerable to banditry is, number one, the porous borders that we have around that region. And then secondly, the unutilized or unused large land mass that has become heavily forested, has become a safe haven for bandits to hide and perpetrate their crime.
Well, you would agree with me that before now, the previous administration had several meetings with security chiefs. We've seen that happen with this current administration, but not in the frequency of what we had in the past administration, and different strategies and different measures have been put up to actually deal with the issue around insurgency and banditry in the country. So how effective have the current strategies that you've seen so far employed by security agencies been in terms of addressing the issue around bandits or banditry attacks in Nigeria?
The effectiveness of strategy is determined by the kind of results being achieved. Now, from the results we are seeing, it is an indication that whatever strategy the security agencies and the federal government is using is not effective, is grossly ineffective. So there is a need to reconsider their strategy.
So if you say reconsider the strategy, you're a security expert, in what line or in what manner would you expect an improvisation on the kind of security mapping to actually deal with the issue around violence and insecurity in the country? I'd like you to be very critical with this because, of course, it's something we need to deal with and to bring to an end the issue around insurgency in the country.
We have been advocating the use of technology and synergy among security agencies to combat banditry and terrorism. And for some reasons, our point of view is not being fully considered.
You said the use of technology. I'd like you to be more explicit. We've seen these bandits also use technology. We've seen them use drones. We've seen them use some sophisticated weapons when it comes to their own kind of crusade in the perpetration of their own acts. So how do we counter that with the use of technology?
When you weigh what the bandits are using vis-a-vis what Nigerian army or the Nigerian security agencies are capable of deploying, you can't compare. The firepower of the Nigerian state is far heavier than that of the bandits. But somewhere along the line, certain things are not adding up. Yeah, I believe beyond the deployment of strategy, there is also a political undertone. There's a political undertone to these activities that are happening because on a very good day, if you want to put an end to banditry, terrorism, and such criminal activities, you as a country, we have to an extent what it takes, to put an end to these things.
All right, finally, you've talked about political will. We know that there are negotiations with bandits and kidnappers. There are kinetic and non-kinetic approaches of the Nigerian army. And now there's also been talks around the declaration of a state of emergency. Which of these approaches do you think would work better when we talk about fortifying Nigeria and ensuring that there's enough security in the country?
Of course, a hybrid of kinetic and non-kinetic approach will work better. Negotiating with bandits, it will not produce the desired result. You don't negotiate with bandits. You decimate them. You attack. For me, we should not handle them with kid gloves. They are terrorists, so they should be dealt with as terrorists.
All right, Ngotara Palibo, security analyst, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me.